What is good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. If you haven't already done so, please make yourself comfortable. Sit down, kick your shoes off, sit back, relax, and let's get into today's story. But before we do that, you know I do this for the overlooked, the underbooked, and the overprepared. You're not solo. You're just meticulous. Am I the asshole for being tired of the local legend who clearly passed their prime but still moves like they're the headliner of the entire scene? We starting off with a good one. Local legends who refuse to step out of the spotlight so somebody else can come in and get their shine. I'm curious to see how this gonna go, because this could be a young versus old, new booty versus a seasoned veteran. For those who enjoy the pause game, I don't play the pause game. Pause it all you want in the comments. I'm not gonna do it. Let's get into it. Every city's got one. The veteran artist who had their run, a few big shows back in the day, maybe even opened up for someone semi-famous once, and now treats the whole local scene like it's their own sandbox. Every scene has a local legend who moves like, yeah, this is me. They opened up for some big acts and they still right there with it. And to be fair, they've kind of earned the right, not even kind of, they've earned the right to feel how they feel, to walk like they walk. But as the story goes, I feel like there's gonna be some disrespect. We'll see how it turns out, but hopefully this local legend is not necessarily passing the baton. Clearly he still feels like he deserves the baton, but at least mentoring people on how to get to where he once resided. That's who I've been dealing with. Let's just say dude had a moment. Years ago, he had the city behind him, dropped some solid work, made a little name for himself. Respect, no one's trying to take that away from him. But here's the thing, the scene evolved, the sound changed, new blood showed up, I showed up. Careful now, because it sounds like you could be a little jealous that he's already there and you want that spot. When you say I showed up, that means now the scene has to change. I'm not saying the scene needs to stay the same. That's not what I'm suggesting at all. When you start saying I showed up, move aside, OG. It's time for the young boy to take over. So be careful. You could be seen as ungrateful. And I didn't cut corners. I put in the work, built a catalog, got my visuals right, started packing out events, and actually dropped projects that people replayed. It's not ego, it's momentum, and the people are showing love. Got it. You're doing the work, you're doing what's necessary, and you feel like this local legend is standing in your way of the next step. If you have all of this in your corner, if you have all these people in your support system, then why are you worried about the local legend that once had a run? Because it sounds like you on your run now. So what he's doing or how he acts shouldn't really impede or have any sway on what it is you got going on. It sounds like you want that type of respect, and you're not getting it. You kind of close to being an asshole. Let's see what's happening. But somehow he still manages to be on top of every local flyer, still takes the last slot, still walks around the green room like he's owed reverence, and I'm supposed to be honored to open up for him. Man, you dancing on this line, bro. Like, here's the thing. When I first started, I opened up at the Rhythm Lounge in Long Beach. That was my very first show ever. The promoter who put the show on was a local legend. He had the city all the way wrapped up, sewn around his finger. I had a crowd with me. I had my pops, he runs a church. So he brought the entire congregation. Now, in retrospect, I don't think they were in for the language I was about to use, but still love, he brought the whole church with him. A lot of people that I grew up with came out just to see my first show. So if you didn't know any better, you would think I was the one everybody came to see. But the local legend was the one who put the show on. Now, he didn't perform at his best, I don't think. But in that space, I felt lucky to be there. I felt lucky that I had all these people around me. And I also felt honored that dude allowed me on his stage that he put on. Because like I've said in other videos, I didn't set up the show. I didn't line up the venue. I didn't make sure security was paid for. I didn't do anything to set up this night except for, hey, can I perform? And how much time do I have? That's really all I did. You're kind of stepping into that territory where you could seem ungrateful. And that could hurt you in the long run. You might have all this support, but when it starts to get out that you think you deserve what these veterans have already earned, it can be bad for you. And the music hasn't evolved a bit. Same flows, same hooks, same recycled stories about how he used to kill stages before anyone knew how to hold a mic. He's not mentoring, he's lingering. All right, so I think it's on both sides. Like, it sounds like you want to be where he's at. That takes time. And it sounds like he's still reliving his glory days, because when you say he's recycling flows, he's recycling hooks, saying the same stories, this sounds like Al Bundy recycling his football stories and his glory days on how he used to be the man on the football team, used to be the dude in high school. You're not that anymore, bro. Show me something today that you can make relevance. Show me something that means you deserve this respect, because even the legends that we honor today, while they might not be pop culture relevant, let me say that, pop culture relevant, they still contribute in a way that says, okay, you still trying to keep it fresh. They might not be competing with the new flows. They're not supposed to compete with the new flows, but they are still supposed to make offerings that shows, okay, yeah, you still deserve that local legend status. And if I'm understanding the story correctly, it sounds like you feel like he's not earning his local legend status. Although it could be misconstrued that you just a little ungrateful, but let's keep going. What's worse, he talks about us like we're TikTok gimmicks, says we're lucky to have streaming and algorithms, like we don't grind this from the mud, like he didn't have his own shortcuts in his era. Hey yo, since I got you here, if you have a wild story, janky promoters, studio drama, anything that made you question who was the real problem, I want to hear about it. I'm building this Am I the Asshole music story series off of real stories from people like you. The link is in the description. It's anonymous and it's safe. I don't need your name. I just need the truth. And while you're here, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to the page so you don't miss the next one. All right, let's get back to the chaos. Bet. Okay, I'm getting the picture now. So yeah, this is one of those local legends that does need to step aside, because when you start saying like, oh yeah, y'all lucky y'all got, because you're right. I'm gonna say we in that same era, but there were tricks that could be used to galvanize some attention. It wasn't necessarily social media. Now, social media has its own thing that I would say myself, because I came up before social media really took off. It started with like MySpace, Black Planet, early Facebook, but where we are now, TikTok, Instagram, there are a bunch of other platforms, but all these platforms weren't at my disposal. So now I'm learning how to get involved in that and understanding how everything works, where somebody like you innately knew what it was. You grew up with the internet. The internet grew up behind us. So we have to learn some things. But it sounds like he's chastising instead of understanding what the era is now. If you don't understand the era that you're in now, as an older artist, as a legendary act, you won't really retain your relevance. You won't really retain the respect you've earned in the past and do deserve now, but you kind of acting like, nah, y'all don't really deserve, because make no mistake about it, social media is its own beast. It's not just something you can jump on and just understand. It's not just something you can get on and all of a sudden these people come and follow you. So that deserves its own respect for the ones that understand it, the ones that can wield it to their desires. To this point, yeah, I do need to step aside and realize the playground ain't got the same grade as saying anymore. At a recent event, I was asked to move my set earlier in the lineup again so the legend could have his usual closer. He showed up late, stumbled through a half-mixed set, and left before anyone else performed. Didn't network, didn't show love, just took the spotlight and dipped. That is trash. Please do not be the artist. Whether you're legendary or new booty, do not be the person who doesn't show love at local events. Even if they have a green room at your local event, get out the green room and go smack some hands. Don't be that dude that's like, yeah, all right, I did what I was supposed to do and I'm out. It don't work like that. Not on this local level, not at local showcases, not at local events. You're not supposed to be comfortable enough where everybody comes to you. Now, as a legend, yeah, sure, everybody does come to you. But if you just dipping right after your set, you're not showing love to the younger heads that might be looking up to you. You might have lost this one because this dude says, nah, I don't want no parts of you. And that's what happens. You're going to lose that respect from the artists under you. And you want to keep them around because you might be able to have a little bit of a bump in popularity with them keeping you in tow. You can feature on one of their records that's showing reverence. Think about Kendrick Lamar and MC8. A lot of people in the generation that's listening to Kendrick Lamar, because my age, we listen to him and we know who MC8 is. But the younger generation probably don't know who MC8 is. And if they watch not Boys in the Hood, if they watch Menace to Society, all right, they've seen your face, but they don't know who you are. Now, by reaching out or letting the younger people in, you now have the ability to have a resurgence in your career. You have a new sense of relevance. You're not about to be popping like you once was, but you won't be forgotten either. Yeah, it sounds like Buddy needs a reality check to see where he really is, because next thing he knows, he gonna be on the sideline still singing the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and nobody's gonna listen to him. Right now, you got the luxury of people listening to him. I've tried to stay respectful, but how long do we tiptoe around nostalgia? At what point do we stop holding the door for someone who refuses to let it swing both ways? So I'm asking, am I the asshole for being sick of the self-proclaimed local legend who hasn't evolved in years, but still expects to be treated like the main event, even though the city clearly moved on? All right, so I'm gonna make this verdict. I'm gonna go ahead and say no. You're not an asshole. I would also say be careful, because your attitude towards this local legend could be perceived as you being an asshole. But you know what you could do? In the event that this local legend, and others like him for that matter, don't know how to step aside, if you still retain these numbers like you say you have, you got the following, you got the city behind you, you even got songs that people are messing with, why stick to the beaten path of doing this local showcase where they clearly are showing favoritism to this local legend? You could just nix that all the way and take the crowd to another venue. Start your own. Start doing your own shows. If you have the numbers in the pool like that, it makes sense for you to do your own. And I encourage anybody to really get into building your own community. That could be online, that could be in person. Build your community. That way you're not reliant on somebody else to set it up for you to win, because then you run into somebody who don't know how to move out the way when they see somebody doing well. We're in this timeline where people of my generation and older, or not older, but I'll say my generation, and maybe Gen X right above us, are trying to hold on to this relevance or trying to find a way to stay popping or get popping in this new era, because it is a resurgence. There is now a space where all of this can live. We gotta let hip hop grow up too. If there's room for you, there should be room for me too. So we should both be able to survive. But if you're having an issue where you're not being able to sing in the light that you want to be seen, man, build your own stage. Get people to come to you. I got a couple of my friends that love to do that. Deltron Black, Pretty Papes, who else? I Am Top from Washington area. They build their own platforms and they have their own shows. They invite their own people and they have their own community. That's how people like Tyler, the Creator, are created, because they know how to build their own lane. So I would encourage you to do that. No, you're not the asshole. Be careful, because the attitude can turn into the asshole, and then you turn into the new local legend, excuse me. You turn into the new local legend that don't know how to step aside. Just look at Nicki Minaj. It's starting to look like that for her too. But that's what I think. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Go ahead and leave them down below. Hope y'all nice. Hey, hold up. Before you go, if you enjoyed this Am I the Asshole story, please make sure you click the playlist on the screen. The rest of the stories go just as hard, and some of them a little bit harder than this one. I'm trying to give you these stories weekly and possibly faster, but I need y'all to keep watching. So click the playlist on the screen and stay tapped in. And hey, if you have a wild music story, don't hold back. Go ahead and click the link in the description and submit your Am I the Asshole moment. It could be your story I break down next. Tap in with me. You know I tap back. Peace.
Everything meticulous.